it's Zadie, welcome to Flytte Kartina. I'm sorry for two things. One is that I'm sorry I didn't get you guys out a video last week because I was setting up this new location. The second thing I'm sorry about is my hair's wet. I showered like 10 minutes ago. It's still not dry. Today we're going to talk about the movie Searching. First I'm going to go over the rating of Searching and why it was rated that way, then I'll go into my charts, and then I'll go into why I like this movie and, you know, whether or not you should see this just based on my opinion. No spoiler rant for this, but if you want a spoiler rant, let me know. I can do it. This movie did not release last weekend. It actually released the weekend before that, but I was busy, and I really didn't want to see The Nun alone in the dark. Searching is rated PG-13 for thematic content, some drug and sexual references, and some language. Let's break that down really quickly. First is thematic content. We're basically watching a thriller, kind of a psychological thriller slash detective film-ish, something like that. You can tell by the trailers that this is going to be a very, like, heart-pumping movie when your emotional roller coaster is going crazy. There's really dramatic music, and the whole film is basically a screen mirror, and you're watching another person's screen. And so, like, you know, the camera work as in, like, it like zooms in and kind of looks like a conspiracy theory video, and it's not, it is, but it's not completely, but it kind of like just gets your brain racing. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't really want to see this, but it's going so slow and it's drawing my attention, and I'm just like Some drug and sexual references. The main character, played by John Cho, is also related to another guy. These two are brothers, and one of them has less good habits than the other. John Cho's character is berating his brother for basically just abusing drugs. There's like the canister of pot like sitting right in front of a video webcam thing, and it's just kind of, that's the drug use, and there's references to drug use. There's also a guy vaping in a photo when people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want any drugs in this movie. I don't know what your reasoning is behind that, but this movie has about 3 major incidences of drug referencing. The second part of this second segment is the sexual references. This man is gonna go on the internet and he's gonna see what the internet is like, and unfortunately there are stupid people on the internet who are like really wanting something, and it's not good. Obviously this is kind of a detective thriller kind of movie, and so there's like always a theory about, you know, what happens if another guy raped her? Like, what would have happened? There's that theory that goes out there. Moving on to the language, there's one major F-bomb. The other F-bombs are like typed out, and they're not actually full bombs. So, like, not a full grenade, maybe just the canister for the grenade. It's not actually full. That didn't make any sense. Other than that, there's really not a whole bunch of stuff. There's a couple of name-calling things, but that's it, and then, like, the rest is just kind of like, you know, exasperating terms of use and stuff, and just things that people use. But the language wasn't really a distraction from the movie. So on the frequency scale, I'm gonna rate this on a scale of 1 to 10 on how frequent these elements that I just explained were. This is a PG-13 film, and so, you know, the average is 5, because that's how scales work. The average is technically in the middle. And I'd say this was like a 7. It's a PG-13 movie, but there's some things that just kind of like push you over the edge in just the thematic content part. Because of the thematic content, you're really just like, your heart is racing and you can't stop watching the screen. And for some people, that's kind of not a good thing for their mental health. Nextly, I'm gonna pull out my magical scale of movies, where I rate this movie on a scale of Steamboat Willie to Deadpool on how appropriate this film is for children. And on this magical scale of movies, I'm gonna rate Searching as a 6, which is The Help. If you understand the rating of The Help, you will understand what you're getting into in The Searching, just a little bit, just kind of get a general sense of what you're going into in the theater. We're gonna move on from the technical things to the more fun part of this video, where I talk about what I liked or disliked about this film. This movie, you can tell it has a lower budget because of how little it was marketed. It's not like A Quiet Place, which was literally on every single social media ever. Like Spotify, I couldn't get through 5 minutes without listening to A Quiet Place. This is kind of a low budget film, also judging by the quality of the footage, but the quality of the footage is relatable. Anyways, you can tell judging by the trailers, like, look at that. It's not like amazingly 4K resolution. This is like meant to put you in John Cho's shoes and basically move with the story and make it a relatable film. Honestly, this movie surprised me a lot because of how much I was engaged in this. With a movie like this, you could go into the route of like the stereotypes and be like, oh, this girl just you know, decided to run away with this guy who he didn't know about, and apparently she was having a relationship with him in social media. That could have been the way that it went, but it wasn't. It went many different directions, and I was very surprised and pleased with the plot. Even like the red herrings that they threw at you, like the red flags that they were like pulling up, and then they're like, oh wait, look over here, this is actually a distraction, but it was well earned. Like, you could actually be in this guy's shoes, and you're just like, you're seeing everything that he sees, and you're thinking the same things that he's thinking, and you're just kind of like, okay, yes, I can totally see that. I see it all now clearly. No, you didn't, because there's more evidence. To be honest, I wish I had seen it coming, because that would have been like, oh, I saw it coming. I'm so happy with myself, because the signs were kind of like, they were all there. And so I was just kind of like, why didn't I see this before? I don't know. John Cho's performance was amazing. Also, this director, oh my gosh, comes out of nowhere and comes out with this amazing low-budget film. It's the kind of film that you're like, this was a really, really good film, and no one knows about it. Like the kind of film that makes it to the box office, but no one really wants to see it because it's slow movie season, and nobody really wants to see a movie that they're like, it's kind of not worth it, so I'm just not gonna go. This was the best $15 that I have spent, and I think I lost 5 years of my life off of the stress, but it's okay, it didn't matter. I had a great time. It was entertaining as well as intriguing, and it kept my attention and engaged me for the entire amount of time. There's some things where I was like, I don't think the police would work that way, or I don't think the news station would show this. This is not what would happen in real life, but since we are limited in what we are watching, you gotta work some ways around stuff. Honestly, if I was the one directing this and the idea wasn't mine, because I can't think of something as amazing as this, I'd be like stuck at certain points, like, okay, how am I gonna show like interactions between these three people? You can't, because, and then he does, and then this director does this. I'm sorry, I'm not saying this director name because I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce this guy's name, and I really don't want to butcher it because I feel like that would offend him. But here's his name. Good job. Please, please keep making more movies. You have so much potential within you. If you're watching this, which you're probably not, please just keep making more movies. I love psychological thrillers. Like, it's something that keeps my attention and like my focus. I watched this movie with a friend, and the two of us didn't even talk. We are both talkers. We like to talk during the movie because it's fun. I'm sorry if I'm that person sitting behind you and I'm talking during the movie, but it's because of the people I'm with, okay? Anyways, we were completely silent during that whole thing. We couldn't even finish our like bag of popcorn. It was just so intense, and we were just like, you can't do this to me. This is the movie that I wanted to watch, but I didn't know I wanted to watch it when I walked into the theater. Overall, I loved this film. I am probably gonna buy it if I have the money in 3 years. Question of the week for you guys: should I put in a grading system for the movies that I've watched, like everybody else? If I rated this movie, would I rate it A, B, C, or D, or and then plus all of the minuses and pluses and stuff, and that's correct grammar? Should I put a rating system in for that? Because I already have 2 rating systems, and so it's kind of like overload on ratings right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great random Thursday. I will see you guys on the other side of the screen. Bye!